Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, working in master bedroom. I'm working on removing the carpet because we're going to be putting in a new floor. And I'm going to do half the room at a time and move the furniture. But this room is like probably the worst room in the house. So there's just all kinds of creaking, groaning. There's a bad spot there. Squeaking. All right. So I'm going to show you how to basically fix the subfloor noise before you put your new floor in. This is your best chance to fix it, so don't skip this step. Oh, we got a nice little melody right here. Yeah, so you can take a look at your subfloor. I can see existing nails and to figure out the nail pattern. So I know the floor joists are running this way. I already knew that as well because I've done recessed lighting below. But it's a good place to start as any. A couple tools I got. I do have a stud finder. If you want to make sure you can find your joists. Oftentimes you're going to find that a lot of these nails, this house was built in the 90s. Sometimes they miss the studs completely with these nails. You know, construction's a balance of speed and accuracy. So I can see the nail holes drifting, so I don't know which ones are actually in studs or not. So I'm going to make sure I find them. So I have a level and a pencil and a stud finder. That can be helpful to mark out where your floor joists are to speed up your screwing process. And I just have, I picked up some number 8 2-inch construction screws. You probably get away with 1 3/4 inch. You just want to make sure you have a long enough screw to get at least 1 inch of bite into your joist under your subfloor. So depending on your subfloor thickness, I think mine's like 5/8 in this house. Newer houses can have up to like 3/4 inch subfloor, or you could have multiple levels of subfloor. So just make sure you get a screw that can go at least 1 inch into the joist. But yeah, let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and mark out the a couple of the joist runs here and get some screws going in, and I'll go over that process. Alright, so I know at least I should have a joist between these two marks, and I do have a nail hole about in the center of that. So I'm going to go ahead and just drive one screw, make sure I find it. The good thing about using screws for this, though, is if you'll know immediately if you miss the joist, because you know, your screw won't bite into anything. And in order to get these to sink the right depth, you can just mess with your torque setting on your drill until you get it to enough where it'll easily sink. So I'll get that set up real quick. So, not quite burying the head. I want the head to go flush with the wood. Let me just adjust it up a little more. There we go. So I think I have the setting. I'm going to back that down one. I think I have the setting I want. I'll go ahead and try another one between these two nails here. Yeah, well, yeah. I felt the floor flex a little bit when I did that, so I know I'm biting. But yeah, that's the basic process. You can see the screw just flush or just under. You don't need to go super deep. And as far as the pattern, it looks like they were nailing in the field here, you know, 4 to 6 inches apart, and then like where ends of boards meet, it can be closer. So I think the recommended is like around 2 inch where boards meet, and then 4 to 6 inch in the field. So I'm just going to follow that same pattern. But let me throw a bunch of screws in. I did buy a 5-pound box. It's cheaper that way because a pound box of screws is about 10 bucks. 5 pounds 30, so it's like you're getting 2 pounds of screws for free. And I'll probably use this whole thing for this whole room when I'm done. But yeah, I'm gonna throw a bunch of screws in, and then we'll come back and see if it helped. So I kind of started getting a method as I was going here, but I have my 4-foot level. I'm just measuring a couple spots where the joists are on each end and then setting up my level as a guide. So if I know I drill anywhere within 1.5 inches of here, I'm fine. But I got screws in all the way down, and what you're going to notice, and this is what's causing all that noise and movement, is the nails have come loose. So there's movement between the subfloor and the joist underneath, right? And as I've used these screws to suck the subfloor back down, all these nails are now sticking out, which a lot of them were, but they're sticking out even more now. Every single nail is now proud. So make sure you take a hammer and go back and put all those nails back down. I was taking advantage of the carpet that's still here to lay on it, and this spot is really bad. So it's just the whole room, really. But yeah, I think I'll try to get this full sheet, this 4-inch wide sheet of plywood all the way to the wall here, screwed, and then we'll walk around on it a little bit and see how it does. I've modified my method again. So I used the stud finder to mark the edge of the joist on both sides, and then mark the center line, use my level and a pencil, run a pencil line, and then use the hammer to just get all the screws slightly started all the way down. And I did put in that first screw just to make sure I'm hitting. Yeah, and I found this method. And then I just go ahead and go down and screw them all in. And another little tip for you. So these boxes of screws often come with a free T25 bit. They're not very high quality. It lasted maybe 100 screws before it started slipping a lot and wearing down the material on the bit. And bits are wear items, but you know, they lasted 100 screws, and that's a really big box, and I'll probably end up using all of them in this room. So make sure you have like better quality bits. I have a lot of T25 bits. But yeah, I've finished these 2 sheets, and I haven't done the 2 there. Yeah, 4 to 6 inch screws in the field. I kind of showed you my method, and then where these sheet ended here to a new one, I did 2 or 3 inches apart on each side, and I angled the screws. But already, here are the 2 I've done. I mean, other than the sound of my boot hitting the floor, I'm not getting crunching, groaning, squeaking, and then we'll step off onto the ones I haven't done here. And there starts the squeaks, the crunching and groaning. And I'm actually walking like directly on the studs where there should be, you know, if the nails were holding, there should be no movement, but each foot is on a joist line. And then I go to the one I've already screwed down. Oh, she's quiet. So yeah, I mean, I won't say this is fun, you know, throwing some music, planning to use a lot of screws, but that's the way you fix it. This house is built in '90, like I may have mentioned. They just laid plywood down and used nails. Modern construction, they use glue and like special spiral shank nails that are like even hard to pull out with a claw. Or you can use screws, you know, construction screws that have clamping force like I did. But I'll leave a link to the exact screws I used. I used number 8s. I wouldn't use a 9 or a 10. That's probably too big for this. These nails aren't that big. You want the head to be able to bite, but you don't want a giant screw. But like I said, I'll leave a link to the exact screws I used. And that's it. It's how to fix your squeaky, groany, crackly subfloors when you're doing your own floor. All right, thanks for watching this one. Bye.